Hi, mate. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening,
Midweek
mate.
special.
Got me
Midweek special. And we planned this anyway. We planned this, didn't we? Yeah. Was it yesterday we planned this? To
Yeah.
do this tonight.
Yeah, you just messaged me. I was dead happy because I've missed you all week, mate. So I'm like,
I know. I know. I know. But today we've hit 750 followers.
get in, lad.
So, so I'm halfway. I'm halfway. But I've worked it all out. So 59 days it's taken us to get 250 followers. 59 days.
So you've got another 2 months at it then.
Yeah, so going off what we did last, if it works out that way, there's no guarantee it's going to work out that way. But if it works out that way, the 11th of July, I should be out of this by the 11th of July.
I think you've got to take it off on pod. Get your tits out on pod, mate. I think.
Yeah, I might do.
Show that Liverpool tattoo off that you've had done.
Yeah. Or I might reveal my fucking sports bra. Um, oh, so no, I've had a bit of a mad week. Yeah, so I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing. I'll probably reveal that on the pod maybe in a few months. I don't know. I'll have to see how things
You
go. But yes, I'm busy this week. I'm busy
like
this week.
revealing stuff on the pod, don't you?
I do like revealing stuff on the pod. But yeah, so 750 followers. Thank you, everyone. I'm dead excited. I'm halfway there. I know we're fucking miles off, but I am really happy.
I'm really
So
happy with the progress
we're
we've
miles
made.
away.
I'm really happy with the progress we've made on the pod. To be fair, over the last 6 months almost, since we started doing it, because like we've been getting like consistently hundreds of thousands of views on Facebook and stuff. YouTube's starting to get better now. We've got 195 followers or subscribers on there.
Yeah, that's starting to increase quite.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
speedy, but a bit faster, isn't it?
we get about 40 odd thousand views across the shorts and stuff. So it's nowhere near the Facebook level. And I think that might be down to demographic and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like you said on that last pod, even if we never make any money from the pod, we just enjoy doing it, don't we?
Yeah, yeah,
He
we
doesn't
do.
like it, though, because he doesn't get his comfy chair in the living room, do you, Slinky Bob? No, he doesn't.
Slinky. Oh yeah, and see, like that picture I put up of you on Facebook, you and Slinky,
Oh,
Chris Tiki Toki, Christy Tiki Toki, or whatever it was.
yeah, we've had.
Yeah, you've got yourself a bit of a reputation, haven't you, by being fucking very controversial about politics.
I don't think it was particularly controversial, and like I'm going to put it out to like our viewers now. So obviously on the Facebook thing, so I've got my own page. You get lots of views on there for myself, comedy wise, and I just like reacted to the elections that happened the other day, and it was like a landslide, wasn't it, for reform?
Yeah.
I've been educated a little bit by it, and I don't know what you think, but kind of you've got Restore, who are a new party that have come out, and I think they are definitely far right. They're kind of get rid of everybody, deport kind of everyone, and close the borders completely and stuff like that. Whereas the Reform Party just seemed to be like old Tory. It's just very much old right wing.
Well, aren't most of the reform politicians ex-Tory?
Yeah, Farage was a Tory, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah, and yeah, I got like there was loads and loads of response. I got it was 30,000 odd views. I also got 60 odd thousand. I think just under 60,000 on the swinging club. So it just shows who's if you put something in politics, you get 30,000 views, 31,000 views. You put something out about a sex swing and you get 60,000 views. It's like you tell what people who look at my stuff are interested in. But yeah, it was quite an education because, I mean, I got called everything from a wanker to a nonce to all sorts of different things. And then you had the odd person coming on defending the Greens because the Greens didn't do as well as they thought they were going to do. What it's actually led me to believe, Chaz, is that we should start our own party.
Why don't we?
Yeah, because I have some views which are, part of the reform stuff I agree with, if it's right, if what they're saying is true in the manifesto. So in the manifesto, they're saying that they want to, basically any illegal immigrants, they want to get rid of them and send them back and all that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of, if they're illegal, they're not working, they're not putting into the country, then I'm probably for that. But then they go a step too far for me by saying that they're going to have deportation camps. And that sounds just a little bit too much like the 40s to me.
Yeah.
But, they're like, they believe that, money shouldn't be put into as much foreign aid, and I kind of agree with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Put into the NHS. Although I do kind of believe that as much as Farage has come out and said, no one's getting rid of the NHS, and it was the Labour government that started the PFI privatisation stuff, I do feel that they will take that to a kind of, I think Farage has said something about like a more American-style healthcare, which is fine for people like probably us who could afford to pay a monthly subscription for medical insurance. But it's not for people who can't afford to do that. And, that means that, you've got lots of people in America who can't afford to have procedures done. And I think one of the best things that's ever happened to the UK is the NHS.
Sorry, just to go back on prices. I mean, the last pod we did, we had Debs on, who was in America, and her husband, didn't she, had a heart attack over there, and he needed a stent. Wasn't it like $74,000 a stent or something? And he needed like 17, and their wasn't the insurance covered them for what, something like $10 million or something, and it was just getting eaten up.
Yeah,
like, wasn't it?
I kind of got to a point with it where we could probably put our own manifesto together, mate. And
we could. But all these people moaning about Keir Starmer and all that. I know, like he's because of what's gone on with Mandelson and everything else over the last few weeks, he's under severe pressure. I mean, they're even calling for like Andy Burnham. There's politicians saying that they're going to give up their seats for Andy Burnham, so he can get back. So he can have a seat to go up against him. But you've got, who's the other guy? Who's the health minister? Who's just resigning. I don't know if he's resigned. He was resigning this afternoon, and he's going to. Is a streeting. He's going to go up against him. But I mean, I found something on. It was just on Facebook before. When it was just saying, why. Why can't people sort of like explain why they don't like Keir Starmer? What's he done? And somebody had come out with, if you look at what he's done over since he's been PM, I don't know if these figures are right, but this is somebody's composed this. Immigration plummeting by over 70%.
I didn't know.
Pardon?
This is me not following the news again. I don't know any of this.
I don't know. Porn basically banned. We'll have to ask Joe about that, because he was coming out with something, wasn't he? You've got to put in your fucking credit card details or something to prove your age now. Massive defence increase. We've had to have that, haven't we, because of what's going on in the world. Labour commies purged. Fastest growing EU G7 economy. Are we? I don't know. Thousands in free childcare. I think they have up to the free childcare bit. Renter and Workers' Right Acts, which they have brought out. Wages up, borrowing down, which I believe is right. And new reservoirs and nuclear plants. Now, I know some of those things have happened. I'm not an expert on all of them, but what bad things has he done? Has anybody come out and said, well, he's done this? Yeah, Mandelson.
That's the big one, isn't it? The big one is Mandelson. Because that was his appointment. and that kind of when they said, he's not. They basically put him in that position without him clearing all the vetting and stuff, and he was kind of like, "Well, I don't know how that happened," and that's
bollocks.
A bit of incompetence. I think one of the things, because like what you've got to look at is like the reform vote. By the way, I'm not. As I said on my status, like I've always been a Labour voter, and potentially would continue down that line. But I think it would be out of pure ignorance that I did that, because it has changed a lot and the values have changed a lot since I was a Labour member. But yeah, it's when he first came into power, he lost a lot of pensioners, didn't he? Because he said, we're not going to give the fuel allowance.
They lost the fuel allowance.
But if you actually look at that from a logical perspective, he wasn't taking the fuel allowance away from the poorest people in the country. He was taking it away from people who don't qualify for pension credit. So, like, you have to have, if you've got a certain amount of savings or whatever, you don't get pension credit. I think it's about 9 or 10 grand in savings. You don't get pension credit.
I mean, that riles me, that does, because my dad, I mean, well, bless her soul, before she died, they'd worked all their lives. And because they'd worked all their lives, they had a little private pension and they got the pension. They never got any tax credits. My dad is 90 years old. He has to pay for his TV license.
Yeah.
He doesn't get that heating allowance. And he's worked all of his fucking life. And there's people who've never worked a day in their lives get fucking pension tax credits. And that's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
It's not right. The system's not right. It's just not fucking right.
It did get to a point the other day on that main post that I put out, the one that got loads of traction. I mean, I've put 2 or 3 out that got quite a lot of Facebook traction. But the one that got like the 30 odd thousand, and I think there was over 1,000 comments in there. Some of them were me when I got called a nonce, and I'd just put, thanks ever so much for your engagement. But yeah, there was some of them, but engaged with that. And then there were some really sensible comments as well, where they kind of put a point forward. The question that I kept getting was, why are reform far right?
Everybody was going on. You don't know what a fucking right is. You don't know what a left is. Didn't somebody say you want to change your views, otherwise you go and ruin your comedy career? I was like,
the post wasn't really indicative of my views, other than
no.
Confused about the terminology, because I would always. There's a few people who said Britain First, the EDL, they're far right groups. But reform on, and this, that, and the other. And you have to take respect. You have to respect people, because the majority, I think, of people that have gone reform are working class people. Which we both come from. We're both working class lads, and for them to kind of go, well, actually, this guy's talking sense, he wants to curb immigration, he doesn't want the digital IDs and all that kind of stuff. Or is he saying he does want them? Actually, I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure on that one. Because someone did actually comment earlier saying that the Green Party were the only ones who didn't want the digital. So I've got that wrong. I don't care if we have digital IDs, by the way. It doesn't bother me. It's like...
No, we've all got a mobile phone. That's your digital ID.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, we all got a mobile phone, and that's how they fucking face you.
If you've not done it wrong, why would it even kind of bother you? And I do look like a reform counsellor at the moment, don't I, with the skinhead and everything. But that's me holiday haircut. But yeah, there was some really, really interesting stuff, and. Some of these people that have voted reform, I'm going to have to come out and say that, and this is going to be controversial in itself, because there was some really intelligent argument. There was some really intelligent points on there, and it wasn't just people go back and say, like, the far right, just knuckle draggers, and this, that, and the other. And that's not kind of what I got. And some of my friends who obviously support reform came on and made comments, and they were well thought out arguments. They'd obviously looked into it a lot more than I have. And I'll hold my hands up. The post was about me not really understanding politics anymore. Obviously, Labour. I mean, some people said that Labour are far left, and I don't believe that for a minute, because they're not. Like, if your Jeremy Corbyn probably was far left, but Starmer's kind of brought it back in. But I do think these days are numbered. I think national kind of hatred for the guy. I think his post is probably untenable. But yeah, and he'll go down as one of the biggest failed PMs ever, I suppose.
Yeah, but along with Liz Truss.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an interesting old debate, and you've got, like I say, a lot of the comments were just like, "You look like a nonce," or you're a tree hugging Green supporter, which I'm definitely not. So one of the things in the Green manifesto. So I mean, I read it as, Jane challenged me on this the other day. I read it as that they were pretty much like kind of open door immigration. She says that's not the case. But the other one was like the net zero thing, and I think, like, I don't know, I might be an arse here, but the net zero thing, I don't think should be piling as much money into that as we are when you've got a failing NHS. You've got pensioners, corridors, pure example, my dad for 60 hours when he needs medical care. And,
I was talking about this net zero thing today, and we're like a little tiny island, and we seem to be doing more about it than anybody else in the world. The Chinese are pumping out fucking in a day probably what we pump out in a fucking month.
yeah.
And it's bizarre. It's bizarre, and we're gonna have to, we can't buy a fucking electric car in this country. It's 2032 or something. Sorry, a fossil fuel car, and it's just, I don't know. I don't see all that. I can understand we've got to look at our sort of like our energy, protect our energy and have other energy sources. But we've got fucking oil fields, North Sea oil fields. We've got gas fields up there. Why don't we fucking exploit that? Why don't we? I know we're building nuclear stations, aren't we? Nuclear power plants. We're getting them. But, why don't we use our natural resources instead?
Because it's killing the planet. And this is the thing, isn't it? I mentioned the other week that I watched Bless This House, the Sid James sitcom film, and it was, his daughter was going on about climate change and being eco back in the 70s. So it's not a new thing. It's like been around for a hell of a long time. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's please comment. Send us some emails at hello@funnyfarmpod.co.uk. I'm not berating anybody, and I said quite clearly on that post that you've got a right to vote for whoever you want to vote for, and whatever floats your boat at the time. Pardon the pun on the immigration, but whatever floats your boat, then that's what you're going to go for, isn't it? And it's as simple as that. I don't know. Somebody did put what's far right, and I put reform. But I've kind of had my mind changed a little bit. It's been an education for me, because some people that I really do respect, friends, have come on and said, I'm voting reform, or I voted reform because of this, this, and this. And you kind of look at it and you go, well, on face value of what their manifesto says, if you read through their manifesto, there's not masses of stuff that's like, oh, that's shocking. But I did say on my apology video that it wasn't. I kind of put his apology, kind of an apology. But you have to read between the lines on manifesto pledges. You can't, just because if something is like we're going to set up deportation camps on a manifesto pledge, you have to kind of then think, well, how far will they take that? I'm not suggesting Holocaust. I'm not suggesting that level of, stuff. But how far will they take that? Who is, if they came into power, who is going to get sent home? Because I mentioned the NHS as being like one of the best things that's ever happened to this country. And it's large. There's a lot of immigrants over the decades who work in the NHS and make it work. So how far does that go?
Yeah, but we've spoken about this in the past, haven't we? It's like, why don't we pump more money into our education and let these people, like these students who haven't really got a chance because they come from working class backgrounds, are going to be doctors? Let's support them. So there's two edges to that, isn't there?
Yeah.
And
I mentioned that I worked for Aim Higher under the Blair government. They brought the Aim Higher thing in, which, it was focused on kids who were going to get C's and D's, pushing them up to C, and then we did A-level stuff, like trying to, get people from the lower classes to go into higher education. And we had workshops with kids who were excelling in stuff about, applying to top universities and stuff like that. And that does seem to have gone a little bit by the wayside, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that the kids that would never want to do that got shafted when Brown abolished apprenticeships. So thank God apprenticeships are coming back and stuff as well. So, yeah. Anyway, on a brighter note, I'm going to Benidorm.
And now have you packed?
Yeah. I've pretty much done. I'm done. Got me your...
Have you got your fucking Union Jack shorts, have you?
Upside down pineapples, mate.
Blow up swing.
Eh?
You're taking your blow up swing.
Yeah.
Are you going to go and see Sticky Vicky?
Well, I'm going with three lads. One of them dropped out, but three lads who've never been to Benidorm.
Right, okay.
I've seen Sticky Vicky, I've seen the live sex shows and stuff like that, so I think it'd be rude not to educate them in everything Benidorm.
I've never been.
Oh, mate, I don't know. It's like the age group is ours. You know what I mean? There are youngsters, but it's there's a lot of older crowd that go out there. You've got the old town, which is lovely, and you go and you have the Spanish experience there. It's lovely. And then you go to the Raji bit, which is near where we're staying, and you've got shows all evening long. From I don't know what time they start, but they go on to the early hours of the morning, and it's comedy and there's like a ska show which is a couple of hours long if it's still there. There's a meatloaf.
Ska show, brilliant.
Yeah, I love ska music, mate. And Dean,
I do. Well, you tell by the haircut.
Bats in a bar. Brilliant, mate. Bit of madness, bit of it's just brilliant. But yeah, so there's that, and you've got like the Meatloaf tribute act. There's a Michael Jackson one if you're into nonsense.
Oh, you're all right with the Michael Jackson one. See, we'll have to do a pod special from there, won't we? We'll have to do a pod special from there maybe next summer.
I think that'd be a great idea, mate. That'd be an absolute great idea.
Even if we're not getting any money in from it or anything like that, I think me and you should just have a weekend away and go and fucking do it.
I absolutely agree, mate. Absolutely agree.
If there's any fuel left in the country.
Oh, did I tell you about the flight situation?
No.
So when we booked it, I was a fucking proper Jobsworth. I was like, there's no way we're having them flight times. Because it was like going out at like midday or something.
Oh yeah, I remember you said that, yeah.
So we booked the earliest flight out, which I think we leave at 6:40 on Friday morning. So I've got one. I've got a day left to get through, and I hate it, mate. So I just want to go now. So I want to fucking
yeah.
Jane doesn't want me to go, but I want to go. And like the flight out, we were due to land back in the UK at about midnight, 11:30 midnight, and they've we've still got the flight out, but they've changed our flight on the way back. So we're back in the UK at 1. Right, it's fucking
What? In the afternoon?
in the afternoon. So we've lost a day.
You lose a day, yeah.
We've lost.
How come they fucking done that?
I'm guessing it's fuel. I'm guessing they've cut flights. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they were cutting some flights, weren't they, trying to
Yeah,
merge
here
them
we go.
together.
I think I'm not. Don't quote me on that. Greg's sorting it all out, so I'm not 100% sure. But I think it's Jet 2 that we're going with. But at the end of the day, I looked at it logically, and it's like on that Monday, right, when you're due to fly back, if you sat about all day, you can't really get pissed. You can get a bit,
No.
but you can't really get hammered. You're not going to be going, because we'd have still had to have been at the airport for 6 o'clock in the evening or whatever to get back, I should think. Although they're an hour ahead, aren't they? So, I don't know what time the flight was in Spanish time. So really, it's like we have to kind of get up early on the Monday morning, and we're back at like 1. We fucked my work up. I've had to speak to my payroll company and get them to do some stuff for me, because I was planning on just getting up, having some breakfast, doing it in the hotel, and now I'm going to be just about boarding the plane when I need to do that stuff. So I think we leave at 11:15 or something like that. Anyway, we're back in the UK for about 1:30. But we're going to have 3 nice days. It's going to be chilled and good. But yeah.
Anyway, did you see? Going on about the fuel and all that? Are you drinking now? You're getting started.
What I'm trying to do is build my tolerance a little bit. So I think I've drunk about 4. This might be my 5th time, and I've only had a couple of cans. I did have a pint with my lunch. Went to meet my sister and had a pint with my lunch. But that was just to wind my nephew up, because he's at work tonight, so he couldn't have one. So I thought, I'm going to wind him up by having one. Anyway, go on. You said about fuel prices.
No, not fuel prices. Just like Donald Trump. Did you see the BAFTA? I think it was the BAFTA Awards. Rod Stewart, and he was like meeting the King Charles, and Rod Stewart said to him, he said, "I really want to congratulate you on your speech that you did in Congress in America, putting that rat bag in his place."
What, the handshake?
Yeah, when he was shaking his hand.
And then
He did that speech, didn't he, in Congress?
yeah,
just basically saying, your fucking constitution, it's based on better morals than what you've got at the moment, he gave them those, didn't he? King Charles. And the handshake was pretty good. You know what? He was really good. He was brilliant on that. As you know, I love the Royals.
That was an interesting few bits that came from that political post, though, because I think that I basically put that at the bottom of the post was, if we end up with a reform government, my worry is that we're going to end up like America. Are you ready for medical insurance and stuff like that? And loads of people came back saying, America in a much better place than we are. Why wouldn't you want to be like America? And they were the comments that made me sink into my chair and think, are we fucking real or what?
So, like, it's okay, we can go and pick up a gun from Walmart and go and shoot up a fucking school.
Yeah. Basically, mate, basically.
And then nothing's done about it. They carry on. They don't change their gun rules or gun laws or anything. They just don't do anything about it.
No. It's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy. But you know what? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. We always say this, don't we? Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I think I'm reading some of those comments. It's really quite scary what people will say to you. Even like doing this pod, and putting some of the stuff out that we've been doing on the pod. It's quite scary what people will say. I was called a baby eater the other day. And
how did you know that?
I don't know. I thought I kept my name out the Epstein files. It's quite scary what people think is all right to write about you or how to insult you and stuff. They think it's okay, it's fine. It's bizarre, isn't it?
So I looked at some of the posts where they I think it's human nature. I'm getting used to it now. I'm getting used to it. We're not like, we're in the public domain. We're not celebrities. We don't get like anything like what celebrities get. But we're in the public domain, so 60,000 or 30,000 or 10,000 people will see the post that we put out. And not everyone's going to agree with us, right? But when you sat there, and I've just posted a picture of me and my dog, and one of them says, "Oh, you're punching above your weight with your missus there." But it's a picture of me and my dog, or you look like a kiddie fiddler, or is your name in the Epstein files, or whatever these comments are. Like they take it. I mean, I've said this on pod before. I know, right? I'm not fucking attractive, and I get that. And I wear glasses, so maybe I might look like a nonce.
Is that what nonces look like?
Well, that's it, isn't it? What do nonces look like?
They obviously know. These people obviously know, don't they? If they obviously know.
Well, Ted Bundy was a nonce. Have you seen what he looks like? You know what I mean?
Jimmy Savile.
Yeah. But if Ted Bundy brought your sister home and said, "I'm a new boyfriend," you'd be like, "Nice one, mate. You've done well for yourself there, girl." Yeah. Then he goes and nonces off on some kids, It's like, it's mad. But yeah, the bit that I'm kind of getting used to, I responded to people, and in the majority, there was one point where I copied and pasted my response and then just put it to a load of different people who said, "You look like a pedo," or "You look like a nonce," or "Look at this far left green nonce," or whatever it was. But these are all comments that, like, probably not the word in, but these are on there. You can check the post. And I was looking at, like, so I'd instantly, to begin with, I was flicking onto their profiles and looking at what these cunts look like. Nonces.
I know.
You're looking at them and you're like, you sit at home in front of your computer trolling people while masturbating and eating what's-its. That's what you do, right? That's what you look like,
Yeah.
But I've learned. I've kind of like watched a few podcasts, and they do talk about trolling quite a lot. And I'm friends with a couple of OnlyFans girls on Facebook, and they tell you about like the trolls that come out and all this and that. And I've learned that if you respond to a negative comment, you're just as bad as them, aren't you?
Yeah. When we first started doing this, I used to respond to them. I just ignored them now. You're better off ignoring them. I think where I got to that one was when that fellow was calling me big ears all the time. When he just went on all of our posts and he was calling me big ears.
Though, aren't we? We know.
Yeah. But you know what? I found him because he was on. What was he on Instagram? And he locked his page. But I found him on Facebook, and he looked like fucking Plug. So these people call you these names or insinuate that you look like such a person are normally that person. They've got a hidden. They've got a hidden desire to be that person or something. I don't know. There's got to be something psychological there, hasn't there?
There's got to be some trauma there, mate. I think that, like, I've had an experience with. I won't go into detail. I'll tell you off pod. But I've had an experience with a family member who's sent me a load of stuff. And at one point, I spat my Red Bull out. I got a can of Red Bull, and I read this post. And I've done nothing wrong, by the way, but they think I have. And I just spat my fucking Red Bull out when I read one of the messages. And I was pissing myself laughing. It's just, I find it funny now. And,
Yeah.
But I also remember that although this person was like probably being quite hurtful towards me, I didn't go back at that person in a hurtful manner. And I won't online. I won't go. If somebody says that I look like a nonce, I'm not going to go back at them and tell them what they look like. Because they already know what they look like. And they already know what deep psychological scarring they must have to be sad enough to sit and make comments like that. I'll be honest, probably 80% of the 1,000 comments that I got were negative, you look like a nonce, that kind of thing, right? But I didn't make a lot of money on it, but I made a bit of money off those people commenting. Do you know what I mean? So the engagement helped me make a bit of money, bit of engagement.
Okay.
And I didn't do it for that purpose. I mean, that's the first political post I've put out in ages. And, you know, I used to be very political on Facebook when I was a member and I was campaigning for the Labour Party and that back in the day when I've never been a Labour campaigner when we've been in power. So that when Labour have been in power, I've always, it was when I joined in 2010 when we got kicked out by the coalition government and did various things for campaigning for Labour because I was just shocked at the stuff the Tories were doing, basically. But yeah, there's always a story behind somebody like that. If you're a keyboard warrior and you're trolling people online, you've not got the balls to kind of stand up for yourself in public, I guess. You're just doing it. You're just doing it online because it's easy, isn't it?
It is. It is. But just before we finish, because we're up to 36 minutes now, mate, I just want to thank everyone again for following us. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We love you guys. If you want to email us, please send us a message. Anything you want us to do, get up to. Hello at funnyfarmpod.co.uk. Our socials are all Funnyfarm Pod. You'll find us somewhere. Patreon, YouTube, where else are we on? Spotify, Instagram, X. What's that other thing called? Threads.
Friends read.
What?
We're on everything, aren't we?
Grindr, Tinder. We're on them all.
Please on Facebook as well, Chris Richmond, and Instagram and TikTok at Chris Rich Comedian. You will see lots of stuff that gets lots of people calling me a nonce. Also, you want of this boy.
Hey, Slinky. Right then, guys.
Right. See you later. Love you all.
See you guys.